Fantasy football tips: Alexandre Lacazette, Romelu Lukaku or Alvaro Morata? Which striker will you choose for your fantasy football team? The new Premier League season is edging closer, which means it's time to seriously start thinking about your fantasy football team. And with all the new signings that the big clubs have made so far this summer, it's quite hard to decide who to pick for your dream team. Especially up front, with some of the biggest strikers the game has to offer plying their trade in England this season. Nearly 60% of players have picked Romelu Lukaku on Dream Team. Dream Team 2017-18. How does the game work? This year's fantasy football game will be absolutely free for all players to play. The total prize pot is an approximated £750,000. Game weeks will run from Friday to Thursday. £50 million budget on 11 eligible players. Click here to sign up to Dream Team. Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United all boasted their striker options this summer, bringing in Alexandre Lacazette, Alvaro Morata and Romelu Lukaku respectively. So, which one should you choose? Alexandre Lacazette, 28 goals in League One last season. How will Lacazette adapt to the Premier League? Arsenal finally decided to settle their striker woes by signing Alexandre Lacazette from Lyon this summer. 5 meters acquisition could prove to be a fine investment if he carries his League One form into the Premier League. Judging by Dream Team's ratings provider WhoScored, Lacazette was the highest-rated player in French football last season at 7. What will Lacazette offer on Dream Team? Highest-rated player, 7. 57. In France last season, 28 league goals in as many appearances for Lyon, 61 points on Dream Team Europe after helping Lyon reach the semi-finals of the Europa League. Want Lacazette in your fantasy team? Sign up here. That puts him 5th in the Premier League player rankings, with just Eden Hazard, 781, Alexis Sanchez, 776, Paul Pogba, 772, and Harry Kane, 768, ahead of him. 28 league goals isn't too shabby either, with only Harry Kane, 29, scoring more in the Premier League. Priced at an initial £50 million on Dream Team this season, Lacazette is one of the cheaper forwards running shoulders with the top 6. Alvaro Morata, 20 goals in all competitions for Real Madrid last season. Will Morata be a good replacement for Diego Costa? The former Real Madrid star is nearly a blue, having passed his medical with the Premier League champions on Friday. But Morata was seemingly second on their summer wish list in terms of strikers, with Lukaku reportedly the club's first choice. Still, Morata isn't exactly an understudy, proving to be a useful striker over the last few seasons. What could Morata bring to fantasy football? 15 goals and 4 assists from just 14 La Liga starts last season, 20 goals in all competitions. WhoScored rating of 7. 17, better than Sergio Ramos and Karim Benzema. Fancy him to shine this season? Sign up to get him in your dream team now. Despite spending much of last season on Real Madrid's bench, accumulating just 1,790 minutes in all competitions, the Spanish striker bagged 20 goals, including 15 from just 14 La Liga starts. In fact, only Ronaldo outscored him at the Santiago Bernabeu this season, as he consistently took his opportunities when granted them by Zinedine Zidane. WhoScored, Dream Team's ratings providers, gave Morata an overall rating of 701 and a La Liga rating of 7. Romelu Lukaku, 25 goals in the Premier League last season. Can Lukaku match Zlatan for goals this season? Man United struggled to score goals last season, albeit Zlatan Ibrahimovic's haul of 17 in the Premier League. But with the big Swede's future at Old Trafford still undecided, United needed a new hero to grab the goals. That hero appears to be Romelu Lukaku. How did Lukaku get on in fantasy football last season? 25 goals and 6 assists, 750 rating on Who Scored, the 10th best in the Premier League, 247 Dream Team points. Fancy Lukaku to shine? Get him in your fantasy football team now. Snapped up for a cool £75 million, the former Everton man amassed 25 goals and 6 assists in the Premier League last season and accumulated 247 points on Dream Team, while Who Scored gave the 24-year-old a 7. The towering Belgian has the advantage of Premier League experience over Lacazette and Morata, but is the pricier than Lacazette at £60 million on Dream Team. How does fantasy football work? The setup for Dream Team is rather simple. As a manager, you get a budget of £50 million to spend on your team of 11 players. Game weeks will run from Friday to Thursday this season, and you'll be allowed to transfer out players who have already played in that game week. Each manager gets a maximum of 3 transfers a month, so it's important to pay attention to upcoming fixtures. And if the incentive of beating your mates in our mini-league system isn't enough, there's a whopping £750,000 prize pot at stake too. Keep up to date with all the latest fantasy football news ahead of next season with our Fantasy Football Live blog and sign up to play below.